What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Post Pro podcast. It is episode 18, and yeah, let's go. 18.
My lucky number. We're here. 18.
Is that your lucky number?
Yeah, I was born on the 18th, dude. It's got to be a
Nice.
lucky
Well,
number.
Congratulations.
Nice.
See, my lucky number is an unlucky number. It's 13. But
That's a very lucky number.
Yeah.
You know, I was just thinking about this earlier, how 12 is like a really good number for me. Not like for any particular reason, just like I like it. And then 13 is like one higher and it's like bad. Again, not for any real reason. It's just, I don't know.
Makes no sense to me,
fine.
but...
Well, it's not like any like life event or like that's my birthday or anything. It's just like I like the number 12 and I don't really like the number 13. And it's not like really superstition. It's not like I'll avoid the 13th floor or whatever.
You don't like 13 because I like 13. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
I think Noah has walked under a couple ladders.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. Wait, is walking under ladder good or bad? I thought that was bad.
It's bad.
Under a
Bad.
ladder's
That's
bad.
why I said.
Yeah.
That's why I said.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't do it if it was bad. Anyway.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just have one bit of movie news. It's not even really news. It's just that David Ayer's new movie, The Tax Collector, with tatted out Shia LaBeouf, is apparently really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think you could get that from watching the trailer.
I never watched the
Or-
trailer.
I still want to see it,
Yeah.
just because of Shia.
Just because it's Shia.
You come off of like two films that are supposed to be like groundbreaking and kind of career changing, then you decide to do a movie where you're like a Mexican cartel member and you're like this crazy action blockbuster.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, it's the same
Yeah.
with like David Ayer. He had End of Watch and Fury, which are
I
haven't
like
seen
End
Fury,
of Watch and Fury.
I've heard those are good, and then
Yeah.
it's all been downhill since then. Suicide
Fury-
Suicide Squad, Bright, and now
Fury
That's
is one of
fucking-
my favorite World War II movies.
Squad. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but
It's like really good. Everyone in that movie is fantastic, and I forget his name. One of you can fill it in. The kid that played Percy Jackson,
Logan Lerman.
yeah.
he's fantastic in that movie. Like he's really, really good. And the cast for that movie is like great. It's actually like they play off each other really well.
Huh.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
into movie news from me, Netflix has had a very interesting week. Starting off, today when we're filming the podcast on the 13th, we just got the trailer for The Devil All the Time, starring Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Jason Clarke, and Sebastian Stan. And I gotta say, it
Riley
looks
Riley
really
Koff.
yeah, Elvis's
Yeah.
granddaughter or whatever. She's
Yeah,
Elvis's granddaughter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's one of those
So.
things that like surprises me every time I hear it, even though like, I've heard it like 5
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, so she's related to Elvis. But anyway, all of us here, I maybe not Noah, watched the trailer, and I think it looks pretty good. So
It does. A stat cast.
No, I'm looking
As
forward to it.
the trailer continued, I was like, oh, hey, wow. Big name. I recognize them. Wow.
and Pattinson's accent is like unrecognizable. It's so
really
good.
interesting. Yeah.
It's
It's
so
definitely
good.
one of Pattinson's talents.
Yeah.
Is
So
it?
honestly,
Yeah,
Yeah.
accents. Pattinson's great at accents.
I mean, look at the White House.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure he's. I guess. I don't know. That's more of an affect. I mean, not even to get like technical about it. I don't know. Okay, fine.
But I honestly don't really get excited for Netflix movies because they're kind of always, to me, have been disappointing, like Netflix originals. So this one, for once, to me, looks pretty good. So
I mean, every once in a blue moon, Netflix will pop out a pretty decent original film.
yeah, I mean, Irishman is probably the only good one I've watched, honestly.
I thought you said you liked the Extraction a lot. And
I mean,
you
but it's
mentioned-
not like a good movie. It was just like a good action movie. Like I don't think it's a good movie. I just enjoyed watching it for the action. You know what I mean?
Any
I'm
you
about,
guys
like,
see
film.
any of you guys see Beast of No Nation with Idris Elba?
Nope.
No.
That's a Netflix original, and it's actually really good.
Cool.
And speaking of the last podcast, Kaufman is having a Netflix movie.
I'm thinking about
And
ending things.
I think I sent it to you guys. And I got to say, I'm actually kind of excited for it just because of one person, Toni Collette's in it. And she looks like she's going off the walls like Hereditary. So that enough is got me interested just because of that. So
a very different kind of off the walls from like Aster
Yeah.
Kaufman too. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
And the trailer kind of grabbed me. It does look very interesting. So I'm excited. Again, it looks like we've got 2 solid Netflix movies coming out. So anyway, on to the next thing. Steve-O of Jackass fame today, as of the 13th, he pulled a stunt in Hollywood, and he duct taped himself to a billboard to promote his new special on his website, and the fire department had to come and cut him down.
Right.
Nice.
And Steve is a character.
Yeah.
Just like when he like climbed on top of a crane to protest SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
But
they almost died.
Yeah. So
I thought you were going to say that he died or something.
No,
and then he died.
And then he died. He pulled this in Hollywood.
This is Steve-O number 2, Collin.
Yeah.
At least for our information.
He on his Instagram, he posted a picture, a selfie of him up on the billboard, and he's like, "I was put here by professionals." He's like, "I don't want to have the county interfere." He's like, "I bought this billboard to do this." He's like, "And I'm going to do it." And then literally like 30 minutes after that, the fire department came and cut him down.
How long was he planning to stay there?
A while. He had a diaper on.
Nice.
Do you have anything else on? Just a diaper?
Just a diaper.
Yeah.
If he was covered in
he like had nothing on except the diaper and like pants. Like he was basically naked underneath.
Ouch.
But anyway, so I thought I'd mention that because it was with all the COVID craziness. I thought that was a little light in the dark tunnel.
Did he have a mask on?
He did not.
Oh, see, that's why they cut him. If he was wearing a mask, they would have let him go.
Yeah, he would have been good.
And then another thing of mention, I just thought I would mention because I thought this was kind of interesting when in terms of like money. AMC, when they reopen, they are going to be doing 15-cent tickets.
Are you sure?
What?
No, I swear.
No
At 100 locations, they're going to be doing 15-cent tickets on opening day. Yes. 15-cent tickets.
Wow.
And I want to know if I can.
Oh, it's day one though.
Yeah, I said day one, but
just day one.
Yeah, only opening day. But like, I was saying like, how are they? Because if you really think about movie theaters and how they make money, it's off concessions. So how is that going to affect the companies? How do the companies agree to that? They're like, hey, 15-cent tickets, great idea.
Yeah. Well, they're probably just giving like permission to show like smaller or not. Or older movies where they wouldn't take that much of a return on the ticket price itself anyways.
Yeah, because I didn't really look into it, but I was curious like what movies are going to be 15 cents because if I can pre-order tickets for New Mutants for 15 cents, I'm in.
You know, I was literally just going to bring this up. I don't know if we've talked about this.
Pre-orders.
Hey, New Mutants is coming out in 2 weeks. From so.
But also, like, if they're having to, do social distance seating, then 15 cents is probably going to sell out real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's an interesting move on them, I guess.
Yeah, for opening day, and it's honestly kind of weird because it's like, yeah, with like social distancing, they're gonna just sell like their tickets like really quickly.
I mean, but like from a certain perspective, it makes sense because they've lost like 6 months of sales, so losing a day of sales is not really anything at this point.
Sure, I guess so.
And in movie news, that's pretty much all I gathered.
That actually did remind me of something. I heard that the last surviving Blockbuster in America, the one in Oregon somewhere,
Airbnb.
It's in it's offering like reservations and Airbnb for $4, where you can like spend a night there and watch movies and stuff. $4.
Yeah, I heard about this too. It didn't even cross my mind.
They're going to sell out for months. I don't know how long they plan on doing it for, but I think it was only a couple days, I think. But
yeah, I want to say it was like a week or 2.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, because I mean, they still are operating, so they can't like just shut their whole business. Yeah. Anyway, but I thought that was interesting. But Blockbuster's been active on Twitter lately too. They've been. I saw that. Yeah. They like tweeted like, hey, we're here to check in, and then they tweeted like an hour later, all right, we're leaving.
All right, we've had enough. Yeah.
I was like, what? But I think that's it really for this week in movie news. Nothing too crazy going on.
Yeah.
Pretty slow week in news. We got a new Tenet poster as well, but
and Tenet is officially opening in Australia first. I heard that.
Yep.
Oh,
that makes sense.
You know what I did see? I forget if this was this week or last week, And it's not even really that noteworthy. It's just like Dune has a trailer, and it's going to be coming soon. So looking forward to that.
Maybe when Tenet releases, it'll be like the main teaser.
Oh,
I would
probably.
assume. I would assume. I'm still I'm still waiting on so many trailers. Like I really wanted the Godzilla versus King Kong trailer. I just wanted to get a little bit excited for that, and then get disappointed when I saw it. So, because I think me and Collin give that a half star. That's such a fucking.
No, I gave it a 1 star.
I give it a half star.
You were good enough looking movie to where.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe I'll rewatch it before the new one comes out.
It was bad, man.
Yeah, good idea.
So, on to our little fun week we had.
Fun week. Sebastian, you want to lead it off?
Yeah, I didn't really watch that much, so it's probably easier if I just knock my just movies out of the way right now. So, I started off. I watched this new movie on Shudder called Host, and it was trending on Letterboxd. And I was like, oh, where can I watch it? And it was on Shudder, and I have Shudder, so I was like, okay, a new Shudder movie, and it was actually pretty good. It was a film that was filmed during quarantine on Zoom, so it's basically Unfriended but on Zoom. But it's like way better, and actually all the acting is like really good, and everyone gives a really good performance. And then the way they like did all the spooks were actually really creative and effective, because like it's these people, on Zoom, and shit's happening like when they're in a Zoom call. And again, I hate Unfriended, but like this was actually like a really creative way to do it, and all the scares were pretty effective, and the way they filmed everything was really creative, and the acting was good, and the directing was really good. So honestly, I really recommend it. It's a pretty creative horror movie with the time. I think it will probably be remembered because of that. Like when everything's said and done, people will be like, this movie was made during quarantine and it's not bad. So
I saw Stuckman's review on that, and it did interest me. And then I found out that the director, I had actually seen a short film from him like last year or something. It was called Salt, and it was actually pretty good. So good to see that he actually commented on my review for it, which is kind of neat.
Spell my review of Salt?
Yeah.
Thank you, Collin.
Spell my name wrong, but whatever.
But so again, I don't know if any of you guys will ever get Shudder, but there's not really many films on there if to like draw you in. But I have it just because it's got a solid horror catalog, and I wanted to watch Creepshow. So honestly, check it out. It's pretty good. Then I watched Friday the 13th, the first one. Speaking of, it's the 13th today, but I never really liked the first Friday, honestly. Like, to me, it's just kind of, it's not bad. It's just kind of boring, because it was like the first kind of slasher movie besides Halloween. Like, it's just kind of boring, and nothing really happens in it, and it's not Jason yet. So I don't know. I watched it just for inspiration on the script I'm trying to write, but like, it's just weird considering how big of an icon Jason is, and the first movie doesn't even really involve him. He's just mentioned, and he shows up at the end of the movie, but that's it. And just weird. It's really not that good, but
First Friday isn't great, but the kills are pretty.
Yeah,
the
Friday the 13th Part 2 is pretty dang good, but the first one, it's weird.
I like the kills in the first one. That's what I was saying. Like,
yeah, I know, but I mean,
well, put together, especially for the time.
Just Friday 13th without Jason is a little weird. Anyway,
yeah,
it's fine. It's a fine movie. It just I like the second one better. Anyway, then I watched What We Do in the Shadows again, and it just gets funnier every time I watch it. I think it's just fucking hilarious. And my mom watched it with me, and she of course did not really like it. So
really.
Yeah,
I had the same experience.
That feels like such an easy movie to like, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, my mom's a big vampire fan, and she loves vampires. Like, one of her favorite movies is Interview with the Vampire, and she just didn't like it. She thought it was really corny, and I'm like, well, I mean, that's kind of the point. It's just funny. And she loves Spinal Tap too, so I was kind of confused why she didn't really pick up on. Anyway, I think it's hilarious. I'm pretty sure all of you do. So, I mean, whatever. I guess old boomers don't understand the intellectual humor of
fucking boomers.
But and then to get into weird territory, I'm a hardcore Kanye fan, so I have been going through his old short films that he's made, and I watched We Were Once a Fairy Tale, and honestly, it's basically a David Lynch movie, and I'm being completely serious. I'm being 100% serious. It's basically Kanye's music kind of interpreted into a short film, and it's very Lynch. It's very Lynch. It's very weird. So if any of you are interested in that, it's actually pretty dang good.
I saw that was directed by Spike Jonze when I was looking at reviews, so that's pretty interesting.
Kind of neat.
It was Kanye's era of 808s and Heartbreaks, 2008. I forget when that album came out. It's been so long. But yeah, I just, I do love Kanye. I can't agree with him sometimes, but I do love him. I think he's honestly one of the most influential artists of all time. So just kind of going through his back catalog of weird films is very interesting to see where he's at now. But yeah, interesting shit. And then I watched Mulholland Drive literally 30 minutes ago. And this is my third Lynch movie, I believe. And
the others being Eraserhead and
oh shit. Oh, I mean I've seen Twin Peaks, most of Twin Peaks.
All right.
I'm about to start the third season soon. So I mean
nice.
I've seen Lynch,
Yeah.
But
and Rabbits. Don't forget Rabbits.
Yes, I did watch Rabbits.
Rabbits is so good.
It's a Lynch movie, man.
Yeah.
It's Colin wanted me to watch it. Let me borrow it, and I really did enjoy it. It was just half the movie, I'm like, where is this going, dude? What's going on? And I was so confused, and all these random scenes with fucking Billy Ray Cyrus and by the way, I don't know if this was intentional, but there was some things I could nitpick about with this movie. One of them being the punching sound effects were awful. I don't know if that was on purpose, but they were
definitely
bad.
Intentional.
Okay, because they were so bad. I'm like, what the fuck? Because every time someone got punched.
Yeah, same with the scene where Naomi Watts, they're getting to the taxi after the airport, and that whole scene is ADR'd, but it's intentional.
What was the line delivery supposed to be bad? Because the line delivery there was also really cringe.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't understand Lynch. There's just shit.
I don't think Lynch understands Lynch.
No, I think that's actually not true. I think Lynch is the only person who understands.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Maybe
he doesn't want anyone else
to
understand.
Have you guys watched his weather reports on his YouTube channel?
I've seen a few.
I've seen
beautiful blue skies.
Blue skies out here in sunny LA. And then there was one where it was just the room was on fire or something from post.
Oh, I didn't see that one, but that's classic.
Yeah, it was really good. There was just I was confused the majority of the movie, but then when I got to the last 10 minutes, I perceived the movie I think is the right way. From what I get, he's never really confirmed anything about this movie. He's just kind of spooky, alluding to shit or whatever, doing whatever Lynch does. But
films like that, and specifically, I guess Lynch's films, I don't think there's a right way to conceive it. I think they're made to be
there's probably 100 different ways. There's probably 100 different ways to perceive this movie, but I think I got it, and I think that's really all I can say about it. So yeah, and then I watched Vox Lux, which we'll get into later.
Yeah. All right. So kicking off this week, I rewatched actually Bottle Rocket. So I think Collin and I are basically, as we mentioned last week, but when we weren't recording, are basically both doing a Wes Anderson rewatch. Oh, by the way, this is Bottle Rocket, the feature-length film. I didn't bother to watch or rewatch the short film because, from what I've heard, it's basically the same thing and much shorter. So I don't know. I might watch it eventually, but it's also only on Amazon or something. I don't know. Anyway, Bottle Rocket, I like. I like pretty much all of Wes Anderson's movies. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like his style kind of works for you or don't, which I end up saying about a lot of directors. But I feel like it's especially true for Wes Anderson. He's very overly saccharine and self-deprecating isn't exactly right, but there's something there. Literally, you don't.
No, I don't know what it means.
I thought you meant applied to Wes Anderson's movies, but just overly twee maybe is a better way to put it. I don't know, just where he's always screaming his style.
Saccharine.
SACCHRINE.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's just sweet or exactly. So anyway,
it's a compound.
Spending much more time on this than we needed to, but that's fine. So anyway, yeah, I think obviously Bottle Rocket, the thing about it is it's the least Wes Anderson-y Wes Anderson movie, and it's much more grounded in a way. But if you had seen this in 1996, you would have been like, wow, this is a really weird and stylized movie. and it's pretty good. And that's pretty much my takeaway on it. So it's good. And then I watched Magic Mike XXL, which is like a masterpiece. Yeah, honestly, not much to say about that one. I feel like the thing about like the first Magic Mike is like it's 80% ennui and like 20% like fun stripping, and the sequel kind of reverses the formula where it's mostly fun and like ennui is mostly like subtext and stuff that happens off screen, which makes for, I mean, in my opinion, a much better and obviously much more fun to watch movie. So that was really great. Honestly, like it's really enjoyable. Watched Noah Baumbach's debut, Kicking and Screaming. Good. I don't know. I mean, it's a debut. Again, like Bottle Rocket, not really a lot to say there. Watched Traffic for the first time, which, I mean, like, is a movie about drug trafficking? I don't really know. I feel like it's, in a weird way, sort of like Spielbergian, where, like, you watch it and you're like, yeah, I mean, I feel like the exact way that this movie wants me to feel, which is sad about, like, drug war and just, like, the entire, like, way that people and countries, like, handle, like, drugs, and, yeah, it's bad. But it's a good movie, and a pretty enjoyable one, honestly.
Just
the one weird thing about that one...
Sorry, just go.
And just the one weird thing about that one is, like, Soderbergh color grading is often a complaint, and this one has, like, really, really intense color grading, so if that turns you off, I would say don't watch it.
Is it like Half-Blood Print color grading, or...?
I haven't actually seen that one in a while, so I don't know.
Oh,
but it's
okay.
like... It's 3 different storylines. One of them is like mostly normal, like a little oversaturated, and one of them is like extreme yellow, and the other one is extreme blue. And so, yeah.
I was just gonna say, is that Soderbergh's longest movie? Because it is.
That probably
Pretty long.
He doesn't do really long ones. Like I can't really think of any long ones. The other one is like Shay, but that's split into 2 parts.
Right.
One of them might be longer. I don't know.
It is his longest, I checked.
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. And it definitely, I mean, the 3 storylines things helps it, like, float along pretty easily.
Sure.
And they're tied together pretty nicely, which is not much at all, honestly, but it works. Watched The Invisible Man, finally, which I'd been putting off for a while for whatever reason. I mean, honestly, the reason is, like I've said, I don't really enjoy horror movies, and honestly, that's my main takeaway on this. Like, it's definitely a good movie, and if I were more into horror movies, I feel like I would have, like, really overrated this, because I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's one of the better, like, straight-up horror movies that I've seen. Like, there are movies that I've seen that, like, technically fall into horror, but are more, like, horror comedies, or body horror, or experimental horror, or whatever that I like more. But in terms of just straight-up, like, horror, and especially, I'm saying that word a lot. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But like recent
that movie got me
type.
good once too. I think me and Collin both got spooked in the one scene.
Yeah,
there are a lot of scenes.
I only
there
got
was one
once.
scene in particular.
The ladder.
The ladder with the paint. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're both like, oh.
Right. I think that was probably like the biggest like scary.
That was the
movie
best one.
definitely.
Of course, we saw it in theaters too, Sebastian.
Of,
so that was
That definitely I mean,
it definitely does jump scares well, way better than most movies.
Yes.
Especially way better than most Blumhouse horror movies.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my only real complaint was, it does kind of, like, rely on the jump scare, like, a lot in the climax with, like, oh, his suit is working, and it's also not working. There's
a lot of nitpicks you could really go into about that movie. But
I remember afterwards when we went out to eat, we were thinking, we were like, oh, God, there's so much wrong with this movie, but it was still fun.
But, it's still...
Yeah, exactly.
It's, for Blumhouse, especially, it's really good. Like,
after
it looks
seeing...
like
what was that movie we saw, Sebastian?
Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island,
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I can't even remember.
It's so bad.
It's a bad movie.
Oh, God. So anyway, enjoyable. Moving on to Silence, Martin Scorsese's recent film. I guess it's... Yeah. So I ended up liking it quite a lot. I don't know. And this is honestly something I guess I also had a similar reaction to Stalker, which I also watched this week. Both of them are very, like, meditative movies, I guess, where they ended up getting me like a much more intellectual reaction than an emotional reaction, which is what I normally prefer out of a film, is an emotional reaction. But for some reason, Silence and Stalker, they just ended up, like I was never like, ooh, or, wow, or whatever. But I did end up like thinking about them both like during the movie and like especially after the movie. Like it's really hard to stop thinking about just like all of the various, I guess, like philosophical underpinnings is maybe not exactly the best way to phrase it. Anyway.
Sure, but yeah, we know what you mean.
Yeah. Very interesting movies, both of them. And I'm going to talk about Stalker a little bit more, but both of them are very, they linger with you a lot. Okay, watched Unsane. Good. It affected me. I guess I was earlier talking about like psychological horror and how that tends to affect me like a little bit more than just like, not going to say that word. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, Unsane, not really a lot to complain about. I mean, the one thing is like Clairefoy's accent is a little weird, but honestly, who cares? I don't really care. Rewatched, like I said, Rushmore, masterpiece. I think, I know Collin and I have differing views on this. Sue's not paying attention, but anyway.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
About Rushmore. Hello.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
I thought
it's my turn.
And I was like confused.
No, that's all right.
Saying, I don't know, Rushmore I think is just a masterpiece. I think the one thing that like really sells Rushmore for me is like it's one of the very few movies where like the protagonist is like a real asshole like the entire way through for like the first like 80 minutes or whatever. And then he's like actually redeemed in the end, which I think happens in like very, very few movies. Normally they're either like not really redeemed at the end, or at least like they're not redeemed like in my eyes. I'm like, well, that's not really a redemption. Come on, that's like cheap writing or whatever. But I don't know.
The Rise of Skywalker
just really works. Yeah, exactly. And also the soundtrack is great. I've been listening to the soundtrack.
It was really good.
For the past 3 days since I've seen it. Watched Lost Highway for the first time. Another H-word movie that really affected me kind of viscerally.
You went on a journey this week with the H-word, didn't you?
Yeah, apparently. I don't know, I guess. And then also the movie that we watched this week was also kind of an H-word movie. Anyway, so Lost Highway, I think, is definitely the most... Thomas...
We'll get to it.
Okay. I know.
Yeah, Lost Highway is kind of like one that, I guess, maybe not viscerally affected me the most, but it definitely like affected me a lot, where it's just like very terrifying in a way that like Eraserhead kind of is. And obviously there are like a lot of elements of Twin Peaks and Mulholland Drive that are like terrifying, but I feel like Lost Highway kind of sustained that feeling for the entire runtime without ever like going over the edge, at least in terms of like my personal boundaries when it comes to horror.
Sure.
So good. And like all Lynch movies, like the sound editing is great. The editing is great. It's just really well done. And,
I particularly loved the shot at the beginning and of just the road at night, going down the road.
Dude, that's
a great shot. It perfectly like creates that atmosphere. So good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Stalker, which I talked on a little bit. But the only thing I really want to add is, I mean, I guess 2 things, sort of. Okay, whatever. So I lied. One, it's like very, like it's probably the most perfect movie I've seen just from like a cinematography standpoint, where just like every frame is like perfect and it flows together perfectly. And I mean, there's no like trick or anything to it. Like the one thing that they do is like a little bit of color grading between like different parts of the movie. But there isn't really any like, there's like a hook or whatever to the cinematography, but just like it was very beautiful and really well composited. And I guess the other thing is just like I don't know that I see it as a masterpiece, but I feel like if I watch it like in a couple of months or years or whatever, like it's very possible that I might come around and like, oh yeah, this is a masterpiece. I don't really know why it didn't really like get me the first time. But
was that your first Tarkovsky?
Yes, and I'm planning on. I mean, the thing about Stalker is it's very long, and I'm also most of his movies are. But I'm planning on watching Solaris relatively soon, but again, it's like 160 minutes, so I don't know.
167.
Yeah, exactly. Watched Adaptation for the first time. The last, as Thomas I think said, like real Kaufman movie that I haven't seen.
Okay, well, not real, but like very large.
Yes,
and
notable.
I did air quotes, which you would have known if you were looking at the Zoom instead of.
No, I did see your air quotes. It was just a strange. Also, I'm on your Letterboxd profile, seeing what you watched this week.
Well, I watched Adaptation this week. Anyway, very good. I kind of like realized like after I said after I logged this that like I have every Kaufman movie except for Adaptation rated at either a 9 or a 10, and this one was no exception. And I was like, wow, yeah, I guess I do really like him. And Anomalisa was just like the most recent one, and I probably haven't seen another of his movies for like almost a year, maybe like 8 months or something like that. But anyway, yeah, like I really do like his style. Anomalisa just really doesn't do it for me. So anyway, then I watched Vox Lux, and that's it.
What's up, guys? On a totally different note. I start off this week with Sin City because I want something.
I love that movie.
No, I'm saying, yeah, Sin City is like that part of the 2000s perfectly encapsulated in like a little ball. Like it's so like terrible CGI, some like kick-ass one-liners. I don't know what else to say. I had a lot I was thinking about, but I don't know. I definitely don't think it's great. But yeah, it's definitely 2000s. Then I finally got around to watching Heat, and Heat's a really, really good movie. Probably one of the best shootouts ever put to film. Because like I mean, just specifically the bank robbery scene is just every like bullet in that scene feels like it matters, just with how like quick it's edited and how much it just jumps from each character to character. Really good movie. You can really tell that it was what's his name? How am I saying his name? No. Danny Trejo's first movie. Because Danny Trejo is really, really bad in it. Because have you guys heard the story of how Danny Trejo got that job?
Maybe it's like every Michael Mann character actor ever. It's just like some random guy that Michael Mann found in a prison, and he was like, hey.
Well, no, yeah, because Danny Trejo was like just came out of prison and has like some rehabilitation stuff, and they were taking him to film sets and was like, this is all the kind of different stuff you can do on a film set. And Michael Mann just like walked up to him and was like, I know, I want you. You're in this movie now.
Allstate is in there too. Wait, no, Allstate guy.
Yeah, I think it is Allstate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't actually remember, but
he was the guy working at the diner. The black guy working at the diner.
Oh right, yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can't remember the actor's name though. I just know him as
me neither.
The guy.
Then I wanted something casual to watch while I was doing some other stuff, so I put on This Is Spinal Tap, and yeah, it's a good movie. It's a funny movie.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great satire. Then I watched A Tree of Life, which you mentioned visually stunning, like films when you're talking about Stalker, Noah, and Tree of Life has to be like one of the most beautiful films I've watched ever.
Yeah.
I think it falls off a lot where it kind of loses any sense of plot and just is just like, look at this pretty visual, but like the actual family dynamic and how it like goes through as characters and like how much you understand from the characters from framing the death at the start and then exploring them more in the middle section is fantastic. And
Monkey
like really
Cola.
Monkey Cola. Yeah. It really got me along for the family in specific. Good movie. I think that it takes way too long on the ending. It kind of just skips around for quite a while, and then
did you get what I was saying about the structure he uses?
Yeah. No, I got that a lot.
Yeah,
because it's incredibly non-traditional, and like the dialogue as well. But I mean, I still liked it. I kind of want to watch the extended cut because I feel like there was just something missing.
I think you will like the theatrical or the extended cut less.
Really?
That's what I've heard.
I mean, I don't know, because I haven't seen the theatrical, I guess. But I feel like I might like the theatrical more just because it's less long, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, I heard that the theatrical was Malik's like true vision, and then the extended was just kind of add-ons that he liked. But
Oh. Okay.
Oh,
Huh.
that's interesting. You don't really hear that because usually with theatrical cut is what the director, like they're forcing the director to cut things.
Sure.
And the extended is like what the director
that's
really wanted.
strange.
But I mean, if it's an extended cut, normally that means it's not a director's cut. So, I mean, like there is a difference, not like a huge difference, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean that's it. Besides Vox Lux, obviously,
Okay.
but
yeah. All right, so I guess I will
wrap it up.
That's right, wrapped up. Haha, get it? Like the song from the movie,
right? Forgot about that.
Oh, never mind. Okay, it took me a second.
Yeah,
that's why I thought you said it, but then I was like, nope, no one got it. It's okay.
All the music in that movie already.
Okay, so start off the week watching Damien Chazelle's new short film called The Stunt Double, made with Apple for iPhone, so it's all vertical and it's weird.
I'm not watching it because of your review, by the way.
What did I say?
It just seemed like it wasn't good, so I'm not going to watch it.
It wasn't. I mean, it was fine. The vertical, how it was presented vertically was weird. It just didn't really work.
And didn't we mention a couple podcasts ago that there's a filmmaker trying to make a horizontal like cinema, like a thing? Like it's
vertical?
Not Damien Chazelle.
You mean vertical?
Well, vertical. But like there's a filmmaker who was trying to make a full-length feature film in vertical and have a screen for it.
I feel like did you mention that at some point?
Wait.
You did.
Somebody
did. Really strange.
Yeah,
I really
because
don't know what we're talking about.
Okay. So Damien Chazelle just came out with this new short film.
No. I mean, I know what we're talking about. I just don't this doesn't ring any bells for me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was just something I watched, but there's a filmmaker who's trying to like make this like a mainstream thing. He's like, I want vertical cinema.
Really weird.
I don't think it's going to catch on.
No, I don't think so either. It's a really awful idea.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of interesting, like just like holding my phone vertically to watch a video. I was like, this feels wrong. But, you know, I don't know. Whatever. So after that, continuing my DC animated universe film thing that's been going on forever now. I watched Superman Unbound, and it wasn't very good.
No, that one
didn't really like it. I like Brainiac, but they just didn't do a lot with him, which is kind of disappointing. But I did like the voice cast. That's one thing. After that, I watched.
That's like always the positive thing out of those movies.
Voice cast. Usually,
that's about it. Like when they're awful, it's like, well, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah. So after that, I watched the original Insomnia, with Stellan Skarsgård, and I feel like had I not seen Nolan's version first, I may have liked this a bit more, but it's kind of hard not to compare them after you've seen both out of order, if you know what I mean. It did a good job of setting atmosphere and a mood and all, and that the performances were good. It's just there wasn't a lot there, like substance-wise, to get you like as invested into the story. And then the ending just kind of ends, and it feels incomplete. But it wasn't bad. After that, I started my Wes Anderson marathon. So I on my criterion of Bottle Rocket, it had the short film Bottle Rocket. So I said, let's do it. And the short film's pretty good. It's definitely like not a bad debut project at all. But I did end up liking the feature a lot more. Feature was really fun. I really liked it. You know, it doesn't have your typical Wes Anderson like symmetrical cinematography and all, but the colors are there, the quirk and comedy is there, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought the Wilson brothers were great.
One of the few criterions that you blind bought. And
yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I meant to mention. So Insomnia, the Norwegian Insomnia was also a criterion, and I didn't really care for it. So you know, yeah, it's.
What are you like 1 in 5?
I don't know.
Or 1 in 6?
I don't know. They're I don't know. I'd have to tally them up sometime. But after I watched Bottle Rocket, I decided to rewatch Bedtime Stories because it was on the list. Disney Plus was next on the list. So I said, all right.
Oh, dude, that fucking movie.
One of the greatest films ever made. Undoubtedly.
Honestly, no, I don't. So honestly, I don't hate it. It's really bad, right? It's like a really bad movie. But
I agree literally with your review.
Yeah.
Like literally.
So it's really bad. But I think because I saw it, I think I saw it in theaters when it came out. So I was 10. So I have some sort of like child mind attachment to it, and that helped me enjoy it a little bit, even though it's like really, really bad. Rob Schneider has a cameo in this movie.
Yeah, that is so funny, dude. It's so funny.
It is so funny. I'm sure
Ferrari for free.
Dude, wait, you know it off the top of your head?
Because I literally in the same boat with Collin. I saw that movie as a kid and I loved it, and I literally rewatched it not that long ago too, and I'm like, this is awful, but it's so good.
Like, I mean, it's bad, but I was surprised just to see how like good the cast was. They have, I mean, it's definitely an Adam Sandler comedy, but Adam Sandler can be a good actor. You got Kerry Russell and Guy Pearce. Courtney Cox is in it.
Russell Brand. You can't forget Russell Brand.
And Russell Brand with his sleep panic disorder, which is also kind of funny in that movie.
Great.
It's I have to give a little bit of credit. There's a little bit of creativity when it comes to like the story time sequences, but the CGI and special effects are so bad. Like they have not aged well at all. But yeah, honestly, what made the viewing for me was Rob Schneider's.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's so funny. It still holds up. It is
really funny, yeah.
But there's another reason I hate that movie, and it's because a certain coworker we worked with would act out the scenes all the time. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, continue on.
Yeah, you'll have to tell me who that was later.
Yeah.
So after bedtime stories, I continued my Wes Anderson marathon, and I watched Rushmore, and it definitely wasn't bad. It was really boring to me. And it to me, I know I missed kind of what you were saying earlier, no, because Mom came home. But I don't know. For me, it just like it still had all the Anderson staple like style and stuff like that. It just felt not as good. I don't know.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt kind of reserved, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just didn't. Get me like say Bottle Rocket or some of his other movies did. I thought it was fine. You know, I did like the story, and obviously the filmmaking and performances are good and all. So after that, I rewatched Christopher Nolan's Insomnia, which I think is the superior film between both Insomnias. It's really good. I mean, great performances, great direction, the story's great, and it fixes a lot of the issues that I had with the original film in terms of plot development and the ending especially. So next on that is Batman Begins. So I'm looking forward to. I haven't seen that movie in years, so looking forward to rewatching that.
I haven't seen it either. I'm about to go through Nolan too. Oh,
nice.
God. Oh man.
And so then after that, I watched the pick of the week. So I guess we can move on to that.
Let's move into it.
Yeah. And
2v2.
2v2. Yeah. Which honestly, because of like the ratings that I've seen already, it feels very.
It kind of makes sense because it's a very decisive film, I guess.
Divisive? Yeah, I mean the ratings on Letterboxd, like in general, are divisive. Very decisive. Yeah, divisive. Yeah. Sorry,
not the opposite word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right. I mean, I chose this movie because I recently got it on Blu-ray not too long ago. And I just really wanted to rewatch it. It's been one of those movies that's kind of been stuck in the back of my mind ever since I saw it back in 2018. And I still really like it. I like it even more than I did before. I think visually it's incredible. I like the performances. I think it's actually quite funny at times, but I like how it handles different tones. I think the music is done effectively, though it's like, this is one of the things. It's like the music's bad, but it's like purposely done bad.
Okay.
I think you really got to look at this movie in a certain way, maybe. But I think it's great. Yeah. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Because I texted you because I was like because I saw it back in 2018 too, but I didn't really remember that much. I saw it because we had free tickets, so I went and watched it. Right. But that was like really my only nitpick really with the movie was that I'm like, is the music purposely bad? And then kind of when you get to the end of the movie, I kind of guess that's what they were going for, but I was kind of confused still because I'm like, this music really is not good. I'm like, how did she even get famous off of this shit?
Well, I think it's. I mean, this is not even like a main point of the movie, honestly, for any of us. I feel like, but whatever. I think it is supposed to be like. I think it is supposed to be purposefully bad, but it's not like supposed to be unwatchably bad, which is kind of confusing because normally there's either like unwatchably bad and you're supposed to like laugh at it, or it's like an actually good song.
Yeah, I mean, like it felt like they were still trying.
But I feel like it was like mocking like pop artists. I think that maybe
it is. No, I think it was, but I don't know. Like it's not really like I don't know. Popstar also has like bad songs, but they're like fun to watch. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but again, that was like confusing. It was just a little confusing.
I don't think it's supposed to be outright bad, but you know, it's definitely not good, and you could tell that like some of the production, some of the singing is not good.
Yeah, and then
intentionally,
if we get into the ending, then you could perceive it a different way, because the William Dafoe narration is like she made a deal with the devil, and I was just like. Funny. Yeah, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I guess that's the explanation in terms of, like, the actual plot in the movie as to why her music really isn't good, because even the one guy she fucks is like, God, this music's so good, and he's drugged up and everything, but, like, I mean, that music really was not good, so.
And I think this is even, like, not explicit, but I think, like, it is fairly obvious within the movie that, like, she got big off of her one song, which was pretty genuinely good, and, like, I genuinely enjoyed it. And then the rest of them are like fine to bad.
And it feels like your classic like rise to fame when you don't necessarily deserve it. And, and I think it is critiquing a lot of 2000s pops, or even like people like artists now, just how they'll get big off of one song and their stuff isn't even necessarily that good. But
yeah, I felt like they were taking shots at Lady Gaga. I felt like they were taking shots at Lady Gaga, like a little. I feel
like they were taking shots at a lot of people.
Because like she looked like her costumes and shit just reminded me of Gaga, and I'm like, dude, if they're really trying to take shots at Gaga, they're wrong, bro. Because she's a great artist.
I mean, you can look at that in any way, because especially like in the early 2000s and now even, you know, you have people dressing up. It's all about the look, you know.
Yeah. But I liked it. I did. I thought. I really did like the movie. I thought Natalie Portman was really good. I thought a lot of the supporting cast was really good. I also really loved Jude Law in this movie. Jude Law is great. Hilarious in this movie. That's what you meant by funny. Most of the scenes I laughed at were because of Jude Law and shit.
Yeah, but it's not like an outright funny, but it's enough. It's like a subtle like I see what you're doing there. I think one of my favorite aspects of this movie is the framing done by Willem Dafoe's narration. It sets up such an eerie and like kind of disturbing way story, which I think is it's done so in such a unique way, and I really like how it's done. Like there's a lot of overt dramaticism here, like the big score will sweep in and then he'll start saying something in the Willem Dafoe voice, and then he'll cut to a slow-mo shot of like Jude Law, Raffi Cassidy, and Stacey Martin walking down New York, and it's just like I don't know. I think it's great.
Can we talk about the intro?
Level.
Can we talk about the intro, dude? That intro is disturbing to say the least.
Yeah, when I saw it in theaters, I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely shocking. One of my issues with it is definitely how in like the first act, how like the younger Celeste kind of feels like bipolar in her character, where like she has this great tragedy and she's like, oh, I'll stay with you, just let the rest of them go, and she seems like a sweet person, and then like she's capitalizing off the deal and she's like, no, I'll do what I need to do, and then she's back to being loving. It's like the movie itself just felt like bipolar in the tone.
I think that's kind of the point.
I don't agree with bipolar necessarily, and I guess I could see this as kind of a point. My main problem was just like, I don't know, it was just kind of like a nothing movie to me in a lot of points, except for the points where it was like horrifying or disgusting. And I mean, not like disgusting, but like just horrifying. But yeah, and then the rest of it, like, I don't know, I didn't really feel like, what's her name? Whatever, the main, Celeste, right? Had much of a character beyond just like, she experienced a tragedy and then she became a pop star. Which, like, obviously, if it's a satire, she doesn't necessarily need to have much of a character beyond that. I don't know, but it didn't really work as a satire.
But
Yeah,
see, that's
I did not feel it as a
wasn't a
satire,
but
or even
but
a
it had
comedy.
no. It's definitely not because of the intro and all that alludes to. But it had, in my opinion, it had satirical elements to it. I'm not calling it outright satire, but it had elements of a satire because when they started critiquing like an actual pop star, like how she rose to like being like a huge pop star and all that, it really did remind me of like a mockumentary in a lot of ways. And then the way that like Natalie Portman would act and shit, it just kind of gave me that vibe. But I know that's not probably what they were going for. Yeah, I know that's definitely probably not what they were going for. That was just the outcome because that intro definitely is not satirical.
Yeah. Well, one of my other things too is that when it gets to the second act and then it has like another great tragedy just to start that off, it felt so forced and like, oh, you're getting interested in the film. Well, here's another big issue or like another like very what's the word I'm looking for?
Like I don't even know.
Like another very like aggressive event where it's like, wow, this is obviously clearly a tragedy. This is a very serious thing, and it's gonna like transfer into like the pop elements.
Did they ever explain what the second the shooters that were on the beach?
Nope.
Really? Because that's one of my other nitpicks because I didn't know if I missed that or not because I was kind of like that's really one of my only complaints because I was just kind of like what was the whole point of that? Like why introduce that and then like kind of make a big deal about it and then just the movie ends with like her on stage and I'm like what was the point of like kind of doing that?
See, I don't think it's really about the like individual events. I think it's about.
But it was like directly connected to her though, and it kind of served a point in the plot. That's kind of why I was confused why it was never really kind of like built upon. You know what I mean?
I think it just it draws parallels to like the pop industry and like the ego behind a character like her, and I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but I don't think it necessarily needs a.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think
motive, or like at least it doesn't need to be explicitly explained.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because it's more, I mean, like, and this is like I'm not even defending it, I guess, because I didn't really like it, but like this is one of the few things that made sense to me, where it's more about how this tragedy affects her specifically and like her personal life, and like it doesn't really matter why they did it. Honestly, it more matters like how people will see it, and like even just like the initial news cycle of like. This happened and it's connected to her is more important than like 2 weeks later they figure out like oh they did do it because of her they did it
right because this is about her
You know what, because it reminded me of the PewDiePie situation if you guys remember that whole thing
when he said the N-word.
No.
Situation?
Do you guys remember the New Zealand shooter that shot up the mosque? When he started the live stream he said subscribe to PewDiePie and then killed him.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I didn't.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminded me of, but I didn't know if they were going to like build upon it in the movie or say like any commentary. I guess the commentary really was that itself, and I just kind of missed the point there. But
sure, yeah. But I don't know. I still like it.
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it too.
I forgot. I was going to say something, but I can't. It was on one of Thomas's points, but I can't exactly remember what I was.
When you mentioned like the pop music is like supposed to be bad, but like when the music is that bad and like a movie that's really based in the music, like the whole ending is just one huge pop concert. It loses so much enjoyability for me. Where it's just I don't want to listen to this. It's not enjoyable to listen to. There's nothing really interesting about it.
Okay. See, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I feel like that's kind of the point. Because with a character like her who's so fragile and so like at this point she's so egotistical and so wrapped up with everything else going around her, and the fact that she just can go out and like forget about it in her performance, it's good for her and her fans. When really like to someone like us maybe it's lazy or boring.
I mean it definitely is.
I think it works.
I mean, obviously, I disagree. I don't know really what you want me to say. But yeah, I feel like my main thing with that specifically was like the finale just felt way too long for me for something that's like just nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought the movie felt too short, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I felt like they're just, again, I mean, I thought it was fine. I do like the movie, but I feel like there's a lot of like, I feel like they kind of like rushed her early life. Like I think that they could have like added a lot more to that. I think it would have been a lot more interesting. And then it was just like the balance of like her like young like artist life and her old was like really short, because with a lot of like music movies I've seen, they do like a long period, like Rocket Man, stuff like that, and it's just kind of like, it was like, oh, here's her young life, up, now she's old. I was like, oh, that's it, okay.
I mean, there's not as much of like a bridging the gap, but it's like pretty much even. It's like and I think it's even like 5 minutes or 10 minutes longer for like her younger life. So,
yeah. And I feel like that jarring cut is like intentional, and it's supposed to feel so like, whoa, how did she get here? But then you have like kind of Willem Dafoe's narration of what happened kind of between the years in certain, events, like the car crash or the divorce and the drinking or whatever. I feel like it adds up. And as to, I forget, was it Thomas or Sebastian saying like, oh, but by the bipolarness in her
that was Thomas.
Younger character. Yeah. I feel like it's supposed to show how much like just one semblance of this could work and you could become famous can affect someone's mind, especially at such an impressionable age. And then you see like the influence her sister had, like in that montage when they went over to Europe. And it's hard to see how she ended up Natalie Portman's take on the character. I will agree, though. I probably shouldn't, when I told you guys about this movie last week, I shouldn't have said satire as like the main thing. But I definitely see it as having elements of satire like Sebastian.
No, I mean, and it's hard to make a movie about like a character like that, like that's just widely famous, without like satirizing it to some extent. So,
sure.
Yeah.
I also was going to mention that it's pretty awkward when you have the same actor playing the daughter who played young Celeste, yet she's clearly taller than Natalie Portman. Like, or just get someone else, or even put Natalie Portman on stilts or something. It's just weird.
That's a small thing that I kind of agree with, but it doesn't bother me too much.
It didn't bother me at all.
I was so out of that movie that it didn't bother me. I don't know. I mean, Raffi Cassidy is like honestly pretty much the only thing about this movie that I like come close to enjoying. And like I think Natalie Portman is like unwatchably bad, honestly.
Yeah. And it felt like Natalie Portman was trying like to practice for her Harley Quinn audition like the next day. It was so the accent.
That accent choice is just like completely bizarre.
Like you don't even hear the accent at all, and like there's like one scene that you hear accent at the young age.
That's why I find it so weird.
Oh man.
I mean, I
like no explanation towards it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess
I enjoy it.
I thought she did fine.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
she grew up in New York, and Raffi Cassidy does have, like, if you pay attention, she does have a little bit of that, but it's so on and off.
Yeah, well, it's on and off.
Isn't she like a British actor or something? So her accent's already like
she's British,
right? So I feel like that's more where it comes from than rather like her necessarily trying to do that affectation.
Jude Law pulled it off pretty well, though. I thought
Jude Law's accent was good.
I think Jude Law is like good, but I didn't really like him. I don't think he's necessarily bad or anything. I don't know, and I don't really like him a lot more in most other movies. So.
Also, the sister sleeping with Jude Law is just like, weren't they feuding? This feels forced, and like I just don't like it in general.
I mean, that kind of goes back to Colin's point of like being young and like being impressionable. I feel like he had an impression on them, and that's kind of what happened as young kids.
Like these obviously aren't good characters, and he's bad as well. That was kind of the point. The one thing I was a little confused about, I was just confused about how old her sister was.
Yeah, me too. It's like
because like at the beginning she says, "I wish I was there for you" after the school shooting, and I was like, okay, so is she in middle school too, or is this like a K through 12 school?
Well, she mentioned that
I always thought she was older.
Well, she mentioned that she was sick, and that's why she couldn't be there. And so when I heard that, I was like, oh, well, they're in the same grade, I assume. And then like she's into like partying and such, but she doesn't really look older, and that's one of the other reasons why.
Yeah, she also doesn't like get a different recast when she gets older. So I don't know. I mean, there were a couple creative decisions like that I didn't necessarily like, but they didn't take me out of the movie or anything.
Well,
yeah.
They took me out of the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
On it, we understand like you guys didn't like the characters or the plot or anything, but we can at least agree visually it's a pretty good looking movie.
It is. It's a very
Visually,
nice
it's
looking.
good.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
not, like,
well edited and
incompetently
well shot too.
Yeah.
I like the music video parts, like, and just the editing and cinematography in general. I think it's really good.
I agree. It was very nice.
And Willem Dafoe's narration, I think, is one of the coolest things about this movie. I really like how it frames the story and how
when you put it into the idea of how like different it is from like the actual film itself, and how it's like supposed to kind of oh god, you literally said it earlier, but it's like kind of counterbalancing the tones.
It's like mocking her story.
I like that when you say it, but just in the moment I was like, this doesn't fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess still my biggest thing is just how much I just didn't like the music at all. And then when the movie is very much based and focused about the music, that's really going to make me not like the movie either.
Yeah. I actually listened. So they recorded an album with the songs from the movie. And the production and singing is actually a lot better on the album. So yeah, the music's not really that bad if you listen to the album. It may not be your type of music, but I
sure,
because it's certainly not mine. But yeah, I mean, I kind of enjoy it for what it is, and I enjoy.
That was one other thing I was gonna mention. I think the score is actually pretty good. It's one of the definitely one of the better parts of it to me. Like the actual music is pretty bad, but I think when it like gets to the score, I think the score is good.
Yeah, I do like the score.
Yeah, the score is actually really nice.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't really have much to say else. I know I'm not going to sway you guys here. It's just a difference in feeling and opinion. But yeah. Do we want to go around the horn and give our score?
Yeah.
10?
Oh, sure,
I mean, I really like it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. So yeah, liked it better than before.
I give it a 7.5.
No.
Oh, sure. I guess I just anyway, 2 out of 10.
2. Yeah, I also would give it like a 2.
So that's 5.1. 5.1.
Nice.
Great.
Next week is going to be
so I guess that'll wrap up Vox
interesting
Lux.
one.
Yep, Sebastian.
Next week. Next week, boys. Watchmen, directors or extended cut. We're not watching theatrical cut. You must watch the directors or the extended cut.
Okay.
Where can I find said directors or extended cuts?
Amazon. Or I will go buy it.
I have the directors on Blu-ray as well.
Oh, cool.
And I am looking forward to hearing that. I think that discussion will be far more interesting than Vox Lux. I'm very excited for that one because this one might be a 3v1 or a 2v2 again because it's going to be interesting. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's one of the best superhero films of all time. And I do have nitpicks with it, of course. But I don't think they're really that big of a deal when it comes to the story of the movie.
Interesting.
I think it's a phenomenal film. So I'm interested to see what you guys think about it.
I'm looking forward to watching the director's cut because I've only seen the theatrical. I've heard the director's is Schneider's preferred. So.
It is. Yeah, I'm going to be watching director's cut, but
Didn't you mention that the director's cut is like 3.5 hours?
That's the ultimate cut.
Yeah, Ultimate adds a short. Ultimate adds a short film into it and a whole bunch of scenes.
I have the short film.
The director's is like a little over 3. It's like 3:05 or something like that.
But does the director's have the short film? I don't think it does it?
Only the ultimate cut has that animated short film in there.
Yeah, which doesn't really do anything for the plot. It's just really cool. But yeah, I'm excited. I hope you guys enjoy it. But I would prefer you to watch director's cut, honestly, since that's probably what me and Collin are going to be watching. So, yeah.
Okay, so director's not ultimate?
Yeah, I would go for a director's cut because, that's probably the smart move because the animated short film doesn't really do much for the movie. And honestly, if you made all of you watch that, all of you would probably be like, that was useless and why did I watch the movie? So let's just do directors because that's probably the safer bet.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I guess that'll wrap up the 18th episode.
I'll take it this week. That wraps up the 18th episode of the Post Pro podcast, also known as the PP podcast. This week we discussed Vox Lux. Catch us next week as we discuss the director's cut of Watchmen.
All right.
Good night. And if I don't see you again, good morning and good afternoon.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Yeah.
Perfect.